Good afternoon, everyone. We're just going to give it another minute before we get started. All right. I think that's long enough. I think we should get started. So good afternoon, everyone. My name is Tom Totten. I'm a pre-sales engineer for Arbella. And joining me today is Jonathan Kazmani he's an enterprise director of industry solutions. He'll help out throughout the presentation. So we're here today to talk about field service for customer engagement, Dynamics 365. And really what I wanted to get started with, we're just going to jump right in here, is I wanted to start off with 5 common challenges for field service organizations. Now, field service management is a serious challenge that involves multiple levels of coordination. In addition to the mechanical and administrative aspects of field service management, companies need effective strategies to meet customer expectations, balance the workforce, and to stay profitable. And in the digital age, that almost always means adopting new technology. Now, every business tries their best to overcome these challenges, but it's a huge task for field service managers to hit their targets and achieve results in all directions. It's important to make every tactical and strategic decision based on accurate data and in such a way that your whole team will comply. Now, irrespective of industry, field service organizations face many of the same challenges, and here are the 5 most common that we're going to talk about today. We have schedule adherence, first-time fix rate, safety and liability, communication with the customer, and performance management. So let's get started with schedule adherence. So customers expect your company to deliver the products and services that they pay for, and your company relies on its employees to meet these expectations. So that means it's important that field workers maintain their assigned schedules even while away from the office. It's helpful to know your technicians' real-time location, their performance, and their adherence with assigned jobs and hours. And tracking your workforce while they're in the field also means you can allocate work orders faster and manage task distribution on a daily basis. A field service management application like Dynamics 365 for field service that lets workers coordinate with the back office using a mobile application, and that can solve this problem. So you can see your workers' location, the schedule, and dispatch jobs. And somebody is not muted. There we go. Sorry about that. You can see your workers' location, schedule and dispatch jobs, track hours, and monitor incoming customer requests easily. And according to research, using a field service management application solution for the mobile workforce can lead to 47% increase in the rate of jobs completed each day and a 77% reduction in overtime. When it comes to first-time fix rates, budget directives demand that every field service manager make a profit for the business while maintaining a balance between quality of service and number of employees. For larger businesses with more employees, underused resources can quickly compromise the bottom line. Small to medium-sized businesses must keep a close watch on performance, even while operating with a smaller team. And according to research conducted by the Service Council, the average first-time fix rate for an organization is around 77%. That means field technicians have to do at least one follow-up visit for about every 23% of all service calls. These repeat visits affect cost, asset availability, and in some cases, response time. To achieve a higher first-time fix rate, it's wise to move to employ field service management software that comes with intelligent automation. Now, this automation enables skill-based task distribution, and having complete details before the service call helps the technician succeed the first time. And then we get into safety and liability. In addition to providing customers with quality service, increasing the company's reputation, and making the most of available resources, there is the concern of safety and liability for workers visiting hazardous locations, like the top of a radio tower or with hazardous materials. Safety is one of the most important issues for many organizations. The central office or dispatch needs to stay in constant contact with their workers and have a process in place for handling emergencies. And field service is a segment where many jobs involve a degree of risk. Now, it's not uncommon for employees to leave their jobs if they feel their safety is not being properly protected. Then, of course, you'll have to spend additional funds to hire and train a new technician. And over time, that kind of churn can become a serious issue. One solution is to use a field service management tool that provides a check-in feature for lone workers. Basically, they use this functionality to notify dispatch of their arrival, and if anything happens, dispatch can quickly see where the employee is or where they last worked. And with GPS locators, we can know where the technicians are at all times. Communication with your customers. Customers like to stay in the loop about their service calls. If your truck is running late, or if you have to cancel, or if you must order a part and come back on a different day, it helps to have a mechanism in place that extends visibility to the customer. Customer relationship management practices are adopted by an organization that have a huge impact on the success of the business, and field service is no exception. Retaining customers and gaining new ones requires attending each of them with equal consideration. But what if your representative spends most of their time answering the same questions repeatedly, and someone with a different question gets unnoticed? Negative feedback on social media and review sites can prove to be a major setback. So the solution in this case is the integration of customer relationship management with field service. If you want to go the extra mile, a branded customer-facing app with a self-service portal can reduce the number of calls and increase customer satisfaction. And you're going to see that today. Performance management. What are the best KPIs for measuring service efficacy? Every company needs precise and clear data to compare their performance against goals and make decisions that move the business forward. Do manual methods like spreadsheets and paper documents and calculators provide accurate analytics? Maybe, but only after a mountain of manual data entry and research. Dashboard and reporting modules contained in your field service application can help decision makers monitor trends and performance without adding hours of labor to their already full schedule. Plug and play reports are also a great way to analyze product demand and monitor the growth of your customer base. So according to Aberdeen, leading companies that implement field service analytics see an 18% increase in profits and a 44% increase in service level agreement compliance. So what makes Dynamics 365 unique? is that it harnesses the power of one Microsoft. These applications work seamlessly together to manage specific business processes across sales, customer service, field service, operations, project service automation, and even marketing. This is exciting as we help businesses deliver compelling and personalized experiences through every phase of their customer relationships. It kind of sounds basic, but the fact is that the classic delineation between CRM and ERP has created a separation in data and processes. And Dynamics 365 breaks down this separation, and our business platform strategy is centered on enabling this to new levels. We're able to integrate not just business applications, but user applications like Office 365. We have analytics with Power BI. We have Azure IoT that you're going to actually see today. And then the Power Platform, where we're able to create low code, no code Power applications, automate workflow, all on the same common data service. So today we're here to talk about the Dynamics 365 field service application. I think it's also important to just reiterate that customer engagement includes marketing, sales, customer service, field service, and project service automation. We're not going to go into marketing and sales today, but a field service organization needs to bring in new business. Marketing is an area that helps. For field service organizations, you're still selling maintenance agreements, extended warranties, installations. Maybe the customer doesn't have a relationship with you and you need to sell them on the service that they need. That's all included in your field service application in Dynamics 365. And whether or not you have a call center that's answering calls, monitoring IoT alerts, triaging the situation before they roll a truck, customer service is available as well. And what we're going to spend our time in today is going to be the field service application primarily. And what we're going to do for the demonstration is that we're going to see an IoT alert, how it comes into field service, and then how we follow a predefined business process to create a case, turn that case into a work order, schedule a technician to fix the problem, perform the service in the field, close out that work order, and allow the back office to invoice that customer for any services or parts that were used. So we're going to cover all of those things in order, and we'll be in our web application at first. We'll be in our mobile applications as well in the field, and then we'll come back and close that out. And then at the end, we'll go through and take a look at the partner and customer portal so we can see how we can mitigate some of the phone calls and emails that we take in on a regular basis and empower our customers to be able to create cases and work orders on their own and get other information about your business. So let's get into our live demo. Okay, so here's Dynamics 365 for field service. Like I said, I'm going to start with an IoT alert, Internet of Things. So these are devices that are connected to the internet and providing us with data throughout the day when things happen. So let's take a look at where that kind of comes from. We have, through Microsoft, we have IoT Central and an IoT Hub, and both of them just work in different ways. What you're seeing here is a simulator for IoT Central. So this is my 3M smart meter monitoring dashboard. So basically, if I want to monitor my devices or my customers' devices, we have the ability to create a dashboard that shows us the information that's going on with those devices. And as you can see, it's changing on the screen as we're speaking. We can also get down into things like, this is another type of simulator for a thermostat. This actually runs through the IoT Hub. And you can see that when the temperature is over 70 degrees, it's creating an alert. So I'll turn that down to stop those alerts. We also have the ability to look at individual devices. So this is my 3M Robot 1, and it's measuring temperature, average pressure, humidity, and providing us with a dashboard of information about this device. And we can also go into a little bit more granular detail as to the measurements on the screen. So if I wanted to see the temperature and no longer see my accelerometers, we can start to analyze and see the performance of a device over time. So what happens when these devices exceed their thresholds? Well, we create rules. I'll show you what those rules look like. So here we created a few rules. Here's one for temperatures too high. So basically we're just saying that if temperature is greater than 50 degrees Celsius, then I want to send an alert, and we use Microsoft Flow or Power Automate to create these alerts and have them sent directly into our field service application. So inside of Dynamics 365 for field service, we have an area here for our IoT alerts. So when one of those thresholds is met, Power Automate in the background automatically sends an alert. Here's that temperature reading of 73 degrees that we just saw from the IoT hub. That particular alert is not associated with an asset for one of my customers at this time. But currently I'm monitoring the Brighton Hospital and the robots at 3M. So I'm looking at MRI machines and robots. And you can see that when these alerts come in, I get them showing up on my primary alert screen. On the background, we can aggregate these alerts so that it reduces the amount of traffic back and forth. So, you know, if I want if the average temperature exceeds 50 degrees Celsius over the period of an hour, then send me an alert. So we're not just constantly being bombarded with alerts. So once an alert comes in, this is where your customer service agent can open up the alert and figure out whether or not we need to send someone out to fix the problem. So we'll start with this RP humidity from the IoT Central. It's telling us that we have a humidity issue. It's with the MRI machine number 1 at the Brighton Hospital. So when we open this alert, we get a certain amount of information. So basically what it's telling us is that the type of alert, and that's created when we build the rule, the asset that it's attached to. So I have the device and the asset. And the reason we do this is because we have the hierarchy of master asset, parent asset. So I could be looking at an MRI machine, but have 25 sensors on that machine, and each one of those sensors is attached to an asset, so that we can determine from back in the office whether or not we can fix this problem. So the first thing that I see, the humidity issue, something that I could do before I actually send out a technician is I could send a command. So I could create a command and I could say, for example, maybe I want to reboot the machine or restart the MRI or perform a firmware update. So without having to send anyone out, I can create a command and potentially solve that problem from a distance without the customer ever even knowing that there was a problem in the first place. Using Power Automate and the native workflow engine, we can also create these commands based on criteria and send them automatically. So we can actually get to that point without having to have a person even look at the alert and actually resolve the issues. So in this case, I'm just taking a look at the alert. This is a primary alert, so that means that there could have been 25 other alerts that aggregated to this one. It says that I have 8 IoT alerts on this device currently. We can look at our assets details, if there were any work orders already present on this device, it would let us know here. And for example, if there were any commands that were sent, we'd be collecting that information here for KPIs and reporting purposes. So once I've opened the alert, I also have a business process that I can follow. And this process is going to take me from alert to case to work order to schedule, just like I showed on the PowerPoint slide, the flow. So I'm on to the next stage. I've determined that I need to at least document the issue for Brighton Hospital. And in doing so, I'm going to create a case. So the process flow, by clicking that button to create a case, it takes me to a quick create screen. And what I've done is I've determined what are the most important things that I need to collect on this case. So what's the case type? Who is the originating person? So Greg Ward manages the IT department at Brighton Hospital. And what kind of problem am I having? So for this demo, I didn't actually create a humidity issue, so we're going to use the overheating issue. So IoT unit overheating. Came from an IoT alert, and then we might want to attach the product, the part, or the unit that this is attached to, and that is an MRI Signa Premier 70 millimeter MRI machine. We can also determine whether or not this customer has a contract with us. Do they have an entitlement? And in this case, they do. That's a work order entitlement. So what I'm showing here is that I have a work order entitlement, and then I also have other types of entitlements. So one can be for customer service, meaning that Brighton has paid a fee for monitoring their devices, and in that contract, it allows them 100 cases per year without having to pay additional money. That's just an example. That entitlement can also include things like warranty information, parts and labor type warranty information, what products the contract is associated with, etc. And then we also have a field service entitlement as well. So this particular customer might have a discount on parts and labor based on their entitlement. So whatever the scenario is in your business, we can create that scenario with our entitlement program. So once I've created the case, save and close, and then what happens is this business process takes me from the IoT alert and brings me into the record for the new record that I created for a case. And now the experience starts to change. I have my account. We can maybe determine if we're monitoring what type of case this is. Most of the information, all of the information that's necessary is carried through from the IoT asset, the device, the alert, over into my case. We can see that we've got some recent cases for Brighton Hospital. Looks like some other devices, other reasons, some have been resolved. We can look at knowledge base articles that might help us with this situation. So in this case, I have an MRI that's overheating. Maybe I just need to send a knowledge article to Greg and have him follow a procedure that fixes the issue without sending a technician. Technicians are expensive to send out in the street. Rolling a truck is expensive. I think I did research where the average is somewhere around $500 to $1,000 every time we roll a truck for the average field service organization. So this could provide us with the ability to not have to do that. We can send a link. We can link this article to this case by clicking here, and then we can also send this link or send out the link to Greg. There it is, send the URL. So here I can send the URL to Greg. And then we also have any similar cases. Sometimes if we've solved this issue in the past and we've linked this as another case as a similar case, it would give us insight into how to solve this issue. But we've determined at this point that we need to send somebody out. So we've sent our first response to Greg. We sent them the article, but the reality is that we have to send out a technician to fix this problem. So in our business process flow, we see that the incident type has been created with our case. The next stage is to create a work order. So when I'm creating the work order, all of the pertinent information from the case comes over to the work order, and then we fill in anything that we still need to create. So this was reported by Greg. The system filters contacts to the service account. What kind of work order am I performing? And that's going to be an IoT break fix. We can add a summary in here as to what we need to fix. So, humidity is off. Check the 67YTH device. I just made that up. And then we can have a description about the incident. And then we can also determine what we think the time frame will be to fix this problem. I'm going to say it's 2 hours. And this might be because I spoke to Greg on the phone, or maybe it's from experience or a previous case. But there's also an estimated time of completing these work orders and incident types in the back end. So when we set these up, we know that typically it's going to take 2 hours for an IoT unit overheating with a break fix issue. And then the system uses machine learning and artificial intelligence to, over time, determine what's the typical amount of time that it takes to perform these. And then that would be the time frame that we schedule. So the system in the back end is helping us be more efficient with our time. So priority, this is, say, moderate. They have other machines. The system isn't down. And then what price list am I going to charge my services and parts from? And it's my Arbella MRI price list. So then I create my work order, and you'll see that my business process flow takes me from the case record into the work order record to finish any additional information that needs to be created inside of the work order before we dispatch our technician. So inside the work order, again, the pertinent information is flowing over from the case. We have our customer information, details. This is actually taxable. So I click the yes button, and because when we set up the account for Brighton Hospital, their tax code is in the system, it automatically comes in, so we know that we're taxing them appropriately. Quick sidebar about taxes: if in your state you tax products but not services, or vice versa, there's a way in the system to be able to set up a tax group that does that correctly. So information about our incident, the alert. So a technician can come into the work order, click on the alert, get the technical information, the code. If there were any diagnostic codes that came over with the alert, they'd be able to see that information. When we're going to set up to dispatch someone, we'll typically determine a window of time. So if this is not a critical, it's a moderate priority, so it's not critical. Maybe my SLA says that I have to have someone out there within 3 business days. So when I use the scheduling engine, it will find someone within this time frame that's available in the area to be able to send out to fix this issue. As a template, we have created this particular type of work order and incident to have no parts at this point. So the technician in the field will be able to add any parts that are needed. We do have typical services attached to this work order. We're calling it just a service call at the moment for 2 hours, and we have a price and a cost associated with that. When the work order is completed, we'll come back in and we'll turn this to used, and we'll make sure that we invoice appropriately based on the time actually performing this work order. And then the technician also wants to be able to know what are the steps involved in completing this work order. Provides consistency. Obviously, experienced veteran field technicians know what they need to do, but every time I get on an airplane, I know that my pilot has a checklist that he goes through so that he doesn't miss anything. So this provides the technician with that type of checklist. So I think we've done everything we need to do in order to schedule this. So we'll check our business process flow one more time. We can see that we've completed those areas. We'll go to our next stage, and we're at the schedule work order stage. It's open and unscheduled. So at the top of the screen, I can click on the book button, and the engine in the background searched all of my technicians. It searched their skills, it searched their calendar, anything that potentially could be part of choosing the right technician for this job has been done in the background in a matter of seconds. I don't particularly like the grid view, so I typically choose the horizontal view. This gives me a better look and feel. And now I can see that there are 4 technicians in this territory with the appropriate skills and the time to be able to perform this particular job. It's also showing me the travel time. So Kathy lives a bit further away than Andy, so I might book Andy instead of Kathy. And then you can see that me, Tom Totten, is currently on a job, because it's showing us that the status is in progress down here. And then I have another job coming up scheduled after that. So for this work order we just created, I'm going to schedule Andy. Andy happens to be a contractor. He is not an employee. So he works for one of our partners. I'm going to schedule that because he's closer and the time frame makes more sense. Kathy is an employee, but I happen to know that she's working on other things. So once I've booked that work order, I can close out the booking, and it shows up on my schedule board of all of my jobs. So the schedule board is a place where someone whose role is only to dispatch and schedule technicians might work. So in this case, this is quite robust, and each dispatcher or scheduler will create their own look and feel based on this schedule board. So what you might do in this case is go to full screen, minimize my file menu. I've got the ability to schedule specifically in the create resource booking area. We've got detailed information that gets filled in as we start to select and choose what we're trying to do. And then our filter and map view will allow us to determine where our resources are. We have units, or I should say offices, throughout the world. And then as we kind of drill in, we see that there's one in Michigan. That's where I'm located. And then we'll be able to actually see. Oh, I went in too far. There we go. Oop, right there. I'll use this button instead. My mouse is a little sensitive. So we can see that I've got a couple of work orders out there, and then I've got different resources. So this gives us kind of the ability. Oh, there's a few more. So there's a Lake Trust Credit Union, and I've got I can add traffic. So there's a lot of things that we're not going to get into in this webinar, but the point is that whatever you need to do in order to schedule your resources appropriately, we have that functionality here. There's a lot of customization that can be done as well. But as a dispatcher, if I wanted to my role is just to dispatch technicians, then what I might do is go into my unscheduled work order section, And from here, I can click on the work order and select the find availability, and I can run through this on a regular basis. So as work orders are being created by customer service, then myself as a dispatcher can manage this this schedule board and keep it efficient. Now, when I click this find availability, I'm pretty sure that I'm not going to find any resources, and I think the reason is that this work order is scheduled to be, oh, I am going to find the resources. Excellent. This is a different territory. This is 3M is in the central time zone, so it's the central territory in Minnesota. So in this case, I might schedule Jamie Redding, book her for this work order. Done. Exit search. Now I don't have any more unscheduled work orders. Everyone is working, and we're ready to go. Okay, so we scheduled myself, Tom Totten. So as a technician in the field, let's take a look at what it looks like on the phone. So this is my phone in my hand, and this is the application on the screen. So kind of take a look right here, field service, and we have dashboards. We have access to our accounts, our contacts. Remember earlier we talked about being connected to your customer relationship management. So this is Dynamics 365 customer engagement. This is your accounts, contacts, activities, all of those things from a sales perspective, customer service perspective, marketing perspective. A field tech has access to that information if you want to give it to them. As a technician, I might go to the dashboard. I might just look for my bookings. I'm currently on the job at Brighton Ford. I might go just to my bookings, and I see that there's my booking, Brighton Ford. And then, I can get to my products, my assets, etc. So anything that I need. So when I go to my bookings and I open up my Brighton Ford booking and take a look at the work order, we can see that it's in progress. I started at 12:21 p.m. or that's the start time. My actual arrival time was 12:33. So that means I'm charging for travel, and it took, 12 minutes to get there. I'm supposed to finish at 3:03 p.m. Lets me know how many miles I traveled, my travel distance, and then it gets into the summary of the work order. So what am I doing? Well, I'm going to replace a broken part. This is where my incident description might have been. If there was an asset attached to this particular work order, then this would be here. This was not an IoT alert. This is someone that called in and had an issue. Other information, billing account information. This application is configurable, so if this is too much information on the screen, we can minimize this. If it's not enough, we can add to it. Here's the address. If I hadn't already arrived, I was getting ready to head off to this particular job, I could tap right here for driving directions, have it instantly launch either, this is an iPhone, so this is my Apple directions. It can be Google as well. And then click go. Right. There you go. And get back to my app. Here's the checklist that we talked about. So in this particular case, we're replacing a broken part. My service tasks are listed. We can tap on the task, indicate that It's completed. We can also do this back in the office. We can automate some of this as well. If I needed to add a part, when I got there, I figured out that I needed an extra part, so I can just go ahead and find the part that I needed. Oops, need an automatic control valve. Need one of those. Unit empty. So I missed a required field somewhere. There we go. That's gonna be $250. And unit cost is required, $150. So there's protections. Keeps me from missing important information by creating required fields. And we added this control valve. Service call is, we haven't spent any money yet, so it's showing my estimate as 0 because I'm still estimated. The booking, and then at the end, when I've completed my job, then I can have the customer sign off on it. Completed. One thing I forgot to do was indicate the status as completed. So all of that can be done on the phone. We also have the ability to do the same thing. So on the tablet. So if you have the phone to get to and from, but when you're on the job, your checklist is much longer and larger. Maybe you need some schematics to be attached to the work order. Maybe you need, so now Lake Trust is my next job. So on the tablet, I can come in and now say that I'm traveling to my next job. But really, whether I'm using the phone or the tablet, the experience is the same, and I have all the same information that I need. We can attach documents, like I said, schematics, and then we won't even get into augmented reality and remote assist, but that's also part of field service. So back in the back office. So back in the back office, first let's take a quick peek. You can see that this job is now completed, and the dispatcher now knows that I'm on my way to the next job. This updates every 30 seconds. This also comes back to the statement that we made about safety. We know that Tom is done here and he's on his way to the next one. We know where he is. Just a little bit of an indicator as to what's going on. He finished on time. All of that information is available inside the schedule board. So once the work order is completed, he's done with this job, we can come in and finish it off in the back office and invoice it for the customer. So go back to the work order, Brighton Hospital, this one right here. No, it was Brighton Ford, I'm sorry. Brighton Ford is the one that I just completed. So we go into that work order and we can go to the products that were used. Remember, I added that automatic control valve. We showed it as used. I'm just verifying that everything is done appropriately. Pricing was correct. Good. We did perform services. We had a service call. So we're going to change that to used. Our estimate was 2 hours. The reality was 2 hours. We can also see what it relates to. And then if there were any additional costs, so if we had a commission on that product that he sold, we can add that. I'm sorry, that's over here's the commissions. If it required, I don't know, some type of travel expense, we could add that here. This is also configurable. Finish up that service call. Make sure he completed his tasks. Mark them all complete. And following our business process flow at the top, we're ready to show this as posted. So myself as a manager have the ability to post a work order. I might not give that ability to a technician so that everything is checked. And then once I've finished it off and closed it as posted, it will show up in the invoices right here, Brighton Ford. And we can see the control valve, the service call. And then this is where, now this is really where that's actually the portal invoice. Go to the field service information. So this would be your integration point to your back office ERP or your accounting platform. So field service is designed to take this all the way through from beginning to end. But there are places where integration would make sense in an implementation, and this would be one of them. So we would send over the information about the work order being completed. It would really be invoiced over in accounting. Someone would approve it over there, and then the information would come back over to customer engagement so that a field tech in the field could look up an invoice for a customer. Sales would know if their customers are paying their bills, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, so that kind of completes the flow that we showed in this slide here. And like I said, I'm going to go into our portal and show you what it might look like from the customer's perspective for a couple of minutes, and then we'll finish up. Okay, so Greg Ward from Brighton Hospital is logged in with his credentials. It couldn't hurt to show one thing about logging in. So this portal comes with your Dynamics 365 license. You get one portal with your license. And it provides you with some templates for partners, customers, community, and gives you a good head start on getting a portal started, and then you can configure it from there. One of the things I just wanted to point out about logging in is that we can set this up to have a username and password. We can also have Azure Active Directory connected, and then we can have external logins like LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, Microsoft logins. So this way, it provides us the ability to let our customers get in easily. And then through the application inside of customer engagement, we can send invitations to our customers that they can redeem and create their logins inside of the portal. Once that's done and they log in, then they would be able to see the information that you let them see. So in this case, I kind of doubled up by providing Greg with information about partner information as well as customer information, but he's just a customer. So he's not really supposed to see partner information. So this would be gone. So under his customers, we can go to the customer service section where he'll be able to go to his support cases. So all of the cases that have been created for Brighton Hospital are here. He can go ahead and open up those cases, review the status of them. He can also create new cases from the portal. So if his MRI machine is acting up, he can create a case. It also provides automatic suggested knowledge base articles so that he can maybe solve the problem himself, determine if it's a problem, and then just say, give a description of what the issue is, and then submit that case for resolution. And now he has his MRI acting up, and then back over in Dynamics, we'll be able to find this case listed, MRI acting up. And the other thing about the IoT alerts is that when I create a case from an IoT alert, I can decide whether or not I want to display this to the customer or not. So depending on what our contract might be, maybe if I fix the problem, I don't need to display the case out to Greg. I just resolve the issue and send them the bill. We also can go in and take a look at any work orders that are created for Greg. And here is the one that's open and in progress. So we can look at the work order. I could have configured this for the booking and shown the technician and the time that he's scheduled to be there. I just didn't do that, but that's available as well. So the point is that anything that's inside of Dynamics is available to be presented inside of the portal. And it's managed right inside of Dynamics so that everything has a seamless integration with each other. We also can go to, like Greg can go and see his invoices. So he has one invoice and he could go in and see his invoice, see what he owes. We could configure this a little bit more neatly. And then we can also add some way that maybe he can pay this invoice or download it or print it from there. So that is really the conclusion of our live demonstration. So let's go past this slide. So what would be the next step? So if you're on this webinar and this looks like something that you might want to take a deeper look at. I mean, obviously what I showed you today it's one scenario or maybe two, and it's fairly high level. It kind of gives you the idea of what Dynamics is capable of. But I know that your business is going to be different than everybody else's. So what we can do from here is get together, do a little envisioning, understand how your business is a little bit unique, provide a unique demonstration. So we can do a tailored demonstration, you know, demo data, what we've got in the system, make sure that it's something that you think would help you in your business. Then after that, it's possible to do a proof of concept, get those results and move past the proof of concept stage, and then really just determine if this is something that you would be able to use and provide you with value, and start you down that journey of becoming a field service organization with the appropriate Dynamics 365 field service application. So I'm going to open it up for questions. I want to thank everybody for joining today. If there's any questions, I think Jonathan was going to help field those. Type them into the question box, and we'll see what we can do to answer them for you.
Hey, Tom, great job on that. Pretty impressive to see how you can really pull together Microsoft's IoT suite with Dynamics, with Power Apps portals, how they're seamlessly integrated together. That was pretty cool, man. We did have a couple questions come in while you were walking through your demonstration. So everyone else, please continue to send in your questions. But we have a two-part question here. Does it cost extra for the field service mobile application? And can field technicians receive push notifications?
It does not cost extra for the field service application, and you do receive push notifications on the phone. I don't know. Yeah, my phone, it happens when they come in, and just like any other notification that you would get on your phone, it would pop in.
Awesome. Thank you, Tom. We have another one that says, in my business, we don't just schedule one resource. We need to schedule a truck with the resource, with the technician. Does the field service application support that type of scenario?
Yes, you can schedule equipment, contacts, users, generic resources. You can create crews. So all of those scenarios are available.
Awesome. So it looks like we have another one. Is there a way to send text messages to customers 15 minutes prior to a technician arriving?
Yes, there's a number of ways that you could potentially do that, and usually we'll dig into your scenario a little bit more. But you definitely can send text messages. There are ways using Power Automate that we talked about, those alerts that we could potentially use for sending text messages, and then there are some third-party applications that have a little bit more robust features and functionality. So either way, we can do that for you.
All right, thank you, Tom. Are there any more questions? Okay, there's one more here. Is there a way to automatically date and timestamp the work order when a technician changes their status to on-site, to working, to left, or to something else?
It actually already does that. It does timestamp when you change statuses. There's also something that I didn't show that I'll just briefly talk about. It's called geofencing, where we can create a geofence around the customer's site, and then through Power Automate and some workflow, actually change those statuses either automatically or just alert the technician to remind them to change the status by using that geofence. So the example would be, I'm pulling in the driveway at Brighton Hospital. The geofence is at the front door. I get through the front door and my phone pops up and says, you need to change your status to in progress instead of traveling. Or it could automatically do that as well. And the same thing is when I exit the geofence, then it could automatically either alert me or change the status as well.
Wow, that's awesome. So it's a safety net for the technician to remind them, and also that really helps with your billing the customer as well.
Definitely.
That's great. All right, Tom, that looks like that's all the questions for today.
Awesome. Well, we're right on time. So again, thanks everybody. Thanks, Jonathan, for helping out. And we'll talk to you soon.